Hi, namaste. This video starts a little series of videos where I will explain basic concepts of some very basic and fundamental asanas. These videos will help you to start with the practice, to understand what to pay attention to in your poses. It hopefully will help you to progress in every asana. This video is not about one particular pose, it is about the feet. And one thing I would really like you to notice, to remember, is that feet are an integral part of the practice. Every asana, the feet, they are not like just there, floppy, we don't know what they're doing, but they are always there, they're always active, they are participating. And I know that most of us don't have a particular relationship to the feet. To build up the relationship is the reason why I prefer to practice barefoot. So there is one concept which is basic for me, which is like the most important one, and that's how we flex and extend the feet. And this is a movement which has like two parts. When we will start with this in a seated position, so you can follow me and do the same. So when we're in a seated position, whether the knees are straight or bent, we can notice if the feet are already turning inside. So let's do the following. We are actively pushing the heels into the ground, and then we are pushing the mounds, the balls of the big toes away from us. And we're lifting a little bit on the outside of the feet. So this is an action of like pushing an accelerator pedal in your car. So this is the way we do it, and then we can straighten the toes. Then let us again bring the toes towards ourselves and then start flexing the whole foot. And this is basically the movement. So step one of it is toes are towards us and we're pressing into the mounds of the big toes. And then step two, we are lengthening the toes. And the reverse section is the toes first and the ankle second. And then when this movement is working, we can do it in a more fluid manner. So let us stand up now. In the standing position, basic, really fundamental thing is that when we are standing, that we know where we are. So feet are approximately hip distance apart, and then let's see, we always say feet are parallel, but in case you will now put the feet parallel and bend your knees, and your knees are falling inside involuntarily, then maybe bring the toes a little bit out, so when you will bend the knees will come parallel, and the feet are either parallel, if that's your bone structure, or maybe a little bit to the side. But in any case, from time to time during practicing, check on your feet and check if they are on the same line on the front, so you're not stepping more to one side, as a rule of thumb. And then the action of pressing through the mound of your big toe. So we will now start to lift all the toes and lift even the pinky toes and the balls of the pinky toes. So you are really pressing through the balls of your big toes. And then from here, maybe placing the outside of the foot here to the ground if you've been too much in the inside, and then spreading the toes and placing them onto the mat. This pushing of the accelerator is something we use in other asanas. For example, when we are coming on one leg and then we're straightening the other leg to the front. So here, what happens, we're also bringing the toes first and then bringing the whole foot flex and pushing through the heel, like noticing there is a heel and it leads you to the front. No matter how high or low it is, it can be on the ground basically. And then when you go back, first push through the big toe and then maybe straightening the toes. So this is the action we want to do. So when we are going into this asana, even not only the ankle is working, not only this flexion is working, but also the action of the toes, helping you to make the arch more pronounced and being more active. The other asana where you can definitely use this action is in the three-leg downward facing dog. So when we are starting to lift one leg, we will flex the foot, flex the toes, and let the heel lead to the back of the room. The action is like somebody is pulling on your heel. And the third thing is, which we use in our warrior positions or in any wide-legged position. So let's go into the wide-legged forward fold. Here, the action is a little bit different. So because what can happen here, if we are placing the feet a little bit more with the toes on the outside and locking the knees, the outside of the foot might lift. We will bend the knees at least just a little bit, then bring the feet more parallel to each other. And when we are going down, whatever version of going down you have, let us engage the outside of the legs. So you are really having a feeling you're pulling the mat apart, and this will now rise your arch and bring more weight to the outside of your foot, not collapsing on the inside. The same thing is in the warriors. For example, here we're in the first warrior. What happens here, once we are starting to bend the front knee, the outside of the back foot can come out. It gives quite a pressure on your knee joint. So what we are doing here is we are lifting the heel of the back foot, then we are bringing this heel towards the ground, paying attention to the outside of the back foot and to the outside of the back heel. And once we're here, we have a lift on the outside, on the inside, pressing the outside into the ground, staying here, stable, and doing whatever version you need to. Well, then once we are on the ground, on the belly, either in the cobra position or sphinx position or in upward facing dog, what happens sometimes is like the feet are relaxed on the inside, not doing much. Here we will try to bring the toes actively pushing into the mat. So that aligns the whole leg, like the knees will look down and the hips are in a neutral position. You can even try to like first lie there, exaggerate it, like a seal. Feet on the outside, and when you will come up, it might give quite a pressure in your lower back. But then, when you are placing the legs parallel, becoming very aware in the back of the feet, especially big toes, and you're pressing there, coming up, see what happens. The posture becomes more stable. As well in the upward facing dog, when you are here. For the upward facing dog, place one foot, other foot on the back of the feet and press the big toes into the ground. And then once we're on our backs, that's my actually favorite, because once again we can see our feet here. It applies either you are in a feet up position or maybe in a shoulder stand. You can again bring the toes towards you and then flex the whole foot. Then expanding, stretching the foot, and then the toes. Doing it consciously and slowly for a couple of times. You have the time in the position anyway. And what you can also do here is take your time and circle your feet. Here, it's also about being slow and conscious. To repeat, there are three things. One thing is the action of pushing on the accelerator, making this movement engaging the big mound of your big toe. Then second is when you are flexing your foot and you are in a position when you want to extend your leg, feel the heel of the respective foot and want to bring it away from you, either to the front or to the back or wherever it is. And the third thing is when you are in a standing position, then it's more about the outside of your feet there, especially the outside of your heel, but basically the whole length as well. So it's about the standing forward fold and the first and the second warrior, the triangle pose as well. So you're not collapsing, because when you're collapsing in your arches, it gives pressure on your knees. In this video, I explained some concepts, but obviously every body is different. So if you want to explore deeper and to see how these concepts apply to your body, then please reach out to me and we will figure it out together.